Hey everybody. Excuse me for my cough. I'm a little sicky lately. So just gonna do a video here on the progression of the poppers, two top water poppers I made. A small one, oh I don't know, maybe a little over 2 inches, and the next one is about maybe closer to a little over three. I'll pop this around in a second to show you. But yeah, I made two little poppers out of wood. Made them out of pine. One I intricately carved, the bigger one, and the smaller one it doesn't have anything really. It's just a shape with two eye sockets cut, and I primed it and got a really nice clear coat on it so that it would give a smooth blank. The other one will probably have a bit of wood grain marking in it, but that's okay because I'm gonna do it as a lure, the larger one that's got an intricate carving and gills and stuff. I'm gonna put like mostly foil them in that and get more layers of clear on it and do specific paint jobs. So yeah, I've got the mold boxes made, and I'll just go through that. I got one side of the silicone rubber poured already, and I've removed the clay. It's gonna be a two-piece mold, so I removed the old clay, cleaned everything up, reinserted the pins, and I'm gonna talk about that in a bit because most people that are making molds they don't really have anything like this. I haven't seen anything. I got my own thing. So, anyways, I hope it helps people out when they're making their own. And I did it to align for an alignment of wiring harness for inside of the baits, and you can just push a pin. But I'll show you here in a second. So they're all ready. Everything's prepped. The second half of the mold is made for a silicone pour. I'm also going to do a little show and tell review of a really cool lure that I bought today from North Bay Outfitters. And North Bay Outfitters is the only place in North Bay to get your stuff. He carries all of the best stuff from Jackal, Duo Realis, Mega Bass, and custom baits, everything. It's just the best shop ever. So we'll just zip this around. Okay, so here we are. So we've got the small popper here. And as you can see, these pegs, all they are is just like a little wooden stick. Tiny, tiny wooden dowel. And what I did was I screwed in an eye loop on the back. And the eye loop underneath and the eye loop in the front. I didn't put anything on the eye loop because the stick would touch the body of the lure, and that would mess up the mold. So, but for the back and for the bottom one, I just made a little tiny metal loop, and I stuck it to the bottom into the clay, and then I stuck this in, and I poured the first half. So what this is for is that when you are to put your wiring harness in before you make a copy, these pegs will hold in the wiring harness, and then the other piece that is to fit on top can just go over those down and then fit into the key locking holes that you have here. Well, I've got the little nubs or the stubs here. So everything will lock together, and those pins will hold the wiring harness in place so it doesn't get jostled or moved by any slight twists or turns of the rubber mold when you're trying to put it together. So it'll kind of lock it in place well, and then the other piece will go down on over top, right? I'll show you in another video when I get the second half here poured and the molds are completely done. I'll kind of show you how that works. So here's the other one here. I put the second half of the pour sprue in. That's just a chunk of plasticine or modeling clay, modeling putty, whatever you call it. And of course, this is the wooden one that all I did was seal the wood, just with one dip of polyurethane, and so there is still some grooves in terms of like small wood grain grooves. This one here, on the other hand, it got a coat of epoxy. As you can see the shine of it on there, and that's just to make this lure a little bit smoother. This one here, like I said, I'll do another episode where there's going to be an episode where I do a foil job on this popper. So basically, going to get the second half of the rubber poured. Then we're going to pour a cast after with micro balloons and a harness. But I will not add a weight because I don't know what it will take for weight yet. I have to figure that out. So there'll be some sinkers that I'll have that will be taped to the outside just to give me a rough idea of what will be needed for weight to go on the inside, or which will be attached to the wire harness. And then, we're basically on our way to pour a full functioning lure before we paint it. There's a lot of things go into factor, and it's kind of tough because I can determine how much weight to put on this. Then I have to take into fact not just that I've attached, taped a lead weight to it to see how it balances in the water, and say some rings and hooks, but you also have to think of the extra weight in terms of, let's say, foil that you put on, coats of primer, coats of paint, coats of clear coat. So that sometimes, is a factor that has to be added in also. So I'm gonna have to try and have them a little more buoyant than necessary, just to compensate for that extra weight. So again, here's the mold box for this guy. You can see the clay sprue on the top. I put the clay sprue on the top because I was told from another video that I watched on pouring resin that when you mix microballoons in resin and you pour it, those microballoons kind of work their way up to the top of the lure, and I want that top of the head to be what's buoyant. Now you see the little toothpicks; those are literally toothpicks. Those are put in there. They're cut to size and put in to create venting holes, because you want air to escape. So I've got a few of them in the front and in spots where they'll need to be. And same as this guy here. So we're all set, and we'll be all set and ready to go. I'm going to do a little show and tell of this new lure that I got. It's really awesome. All right, so today's show and tell is this guy right here. This is a Shimano WM115SP flash bolt jerkbait. They had a couple different sizes. This is the bigger one. Had it in just some different colors, not a whole lot of different patterns though. This was like one with kind of a black back. They had one with a chartreuse yellow back with foiling, and then some other ones that had a different type of side to it, but still had the flasher. They had one that was like a gold color also. So I chose this one here because to me it was the closest to what a minnow would be here anyways, and should work in a lot of conditions. So look at that thing. So what it is it's made by Shimano, and it has this flashing filament in it, if you can see that, and it doesn't stop. It's just like a little thin piece, and I think it's on like 2 little springs, and it's sensitive to every movement. It'd take a while sitting in one spot for it to probably eventually stop. But the second you pick it up and the second you jerk it through the water, it's going to be just lighting up. So the second what happens, once it sits or suspends or sits at the top or wherever in the water column, this will continue to flash as it's suspended still or floating or sinking, whatever you do. You could put like a lead piece in the bottom if you wanted to, just to adjust how you want this to swim. So my cousin was at North Bay Outfitters in North Bay, Ontario. So if you're in the North Bay area and you want to get the best, a top brand tackle, North Bay Outfitters. Thomas look after you. He's the owner, and they got everything from Mega Bass, Jackal, Duo Realis, stuff like this. Shimano. There's lots of the best you can get in reels and rods, everything. Soft plastics, you name it. He even sells bait. I think a little bit of bait. I wasn't sure exactly what he sells for bait, but it's a great size shop. He's got everything. This little puppy here cost me about almost $30, but to me it's worth it. I can't wait to try it out. So my cousin Kalen was there, and he was picking up some stuff for ice fishing. And originally, I knew he was heading up there from last talking to him a few days ago, and he said, we were talking about this topwater bait called a riser from Jackal, and it's a pretty unique thing. So he went in, he took a look, and he texted me today. He said they didn't have it, but they had these Shimano jerk baits. So I was like, oh my God, I want one of them. I seen them on YouTube, seen videos of them. But I thought, I would do a little thing here of it in case there's people that have never seen this before. And, man, it's a work of art. Look at it. Absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to try this out come this spring. And also as a fall jerkbait too. As long as I don't lose it somewhere in between spring and fall. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I can't wait to try it to see if it catches fish. You can see that thing just hasn't stopped. Even I've set it down and it's still going. I'm curious to see how long it'll take. I'll have to time it. Still fluttering. Oh, it's getting a little slower there now. Oh, there it stopped. There it goes again. So anyways, this is what this is. You can get it in some different colors, some different sizes. And yeah, pretty amazing. Anyways, I'll just flip this around. Oh, I keep getting my hand stuck in the road there. So yeah, this is just a video where I want to update you on them poppers, and once we get those going and lots of bathtub tests throughout the next month or two, and I feel confident with it, I'll paint a few up and we'll try them in the spring. My cousin and I were gonna possibly go out onto a lake and give them a shot in the summer if possible, and I'm curious to see, but I'll get lots of test times with them throughout the summer too, when we're out on the pond, or there's some more various lakes I want to pick that hopefully I have good access to. Trying to think of other projects, to put together. I'm still thinking about working on that making those special masters out of molding actual live bait in utmost detail to maybe make some paddle tails or some fluke style masters, hard copies out of resin, so then I can maybe possibly make some silicone molds of those to put soft plastics in and get into airbrushing the patterns on them and so on. So it's going to take a bit. I got lots of projects. I'm also looking at doing some more flatliner shiners. So I'm going to do a hot tiger for myself because I thought that was a pretty cool color that I tested out for my cousin there the other day, and or on one of the last videos. And I'd like to get a hold of some, what's it called? Balsa wood in the sheets, the thin sheets. But I need to find a certain thickness of balsa planks or sheets that when put together, it'll be roughly around close to like 10 mil or so, like roughly about half an inch wide, because I'd like to make some jerk baits that are larger, like, that are the 110 to 130 or 140 millimeter range. So, we'll try our best at doing that and see how that works out. I got lots of supplies, lots of stuff here to get the stuff underway. I just need a few little tiny, cheap, inexpensive materials here and there. Okay, so next video will be displaying the finished rubber silicone molds for the poppers, and hopefully maybe even a little process of getting that together and testing them. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch you next time. All right, thanks for stopping in. Bye now.